Hey everyone, I'm Scott, the Director of Training and Employee Engagement at designDATA. We're a managed service provider in the DC metro area, and probably like many of you, we've spent the last year working remotely due to the pandemic. Here I am at my remote desk, i.e. my kitchen table, and today I'm going to share with you my 5 tips for communicating with a remote team. First, I recommend chatting with your team more frequently than you would when in the office. I find that frequent, shorter check-ins can be very effective. At designDATA, many of our departments hold 10-minute daily video huddles to set priorities for the day, but also to provide that face-to-face interaction that we're all missing by not being in the office. I also recommend using video in your remote meetings as often as possible. Just seeing other human faces helps employees feel less isolated. Second, be present and set that expectation for your team as well. One of the most difficult things about working remotely is that we're all being bombarded with emails, instant messages, meeting requests, and more every day, making it really hard to focus. And many studies have shown that multitasking just doesn't work. So when I meet remotely with either an individual or a team, I ask them to turn their cameras on and try to avoid responding to emails, texts, or phone calls while in the meeting. This is a really difficult thing to do, but it can drastically improve the effectiveness of your meeting or conversation. The third tip is to communicate with staff during normal office hours. One of the main reasons that employees have been more productive over the last year is simply that they're just working more hours. It's tough to know when to leave work when your work is no longer in an office, but in the next room. Commit yourself and your team to certain work communication hours so that everyone gets some turned off time. Number 4, avoid the temptation to micromanage. Not being able to physically see your employees on a regular basis can make you feel nervous, but it's really important to trust your staff and ensure they sense that trust. I recently delegated a large project to one of my employees, and while I often had the urge to check in and say, "How is this issue going?" and "How is that issue going?" I just took a step back and let him run with the project. I still check in on a regular basis, but I let him feel ownership of the project and try not to micromanage it. And my final tip for communicating effectively when you're not physically around your team members is to find some great collaboration software and take full advantage of it. This is particularly important in the areas of instant messaging, file sharing, and project management. My company uses Microsoft 365 to run our business. We love Microsoft Teams for messaging and file sharing, and Planner for project management. But there's a lot of other great collaboration software out there, so just find one that works for your business. These are my 5 tips for communicating with a remote team. I hope you found them helpful, and I wish you good luck with your remote communication.